job comes with a bit of a story. I actually installed this tank about 30 years ago with Laurie Small from St George, and to my knowledge it's never been set up. So as far as I know, it's been water tested, and today we get to put it together 30 years later. Hopefully the silicon's all good and we get to turn it into an ice fish tank. Good fun. So top that one, eh? 30-year delay. This is what we used to use to light our tanks. We used to use T8 tubes. We can't even get T8 tubes anymore. It's all about LEDs, so we're going to have to change them over for LED. On the upside, LEDs looks heaps better and uses way less electricity. What I'm going to do is give the aquarium a nice big clean out. After I've given it a good wash, then I'll drain this water out, put the under gravel in, wash the gravel, put the gravel in, start to fill her up. So now I've started to siphon, and now what I'm going to do is go and suck out all the crap sitting in the bottom of this tank. Sucky suck it all out so it starts nice and clean. Now the glass is all clean, the base is all clean. So now I'm going to put the under gravel filter in the tank, and then I've got two grades of gravel. Now this is my favorite color gravel. I think it brings up all the color of the fish really well. I'm going to put the large gravel down, then I'll put the finer one on top. I don't want the gravel too fine because it's an under gravel system. So that should look really good. I've got a pirate ship to put in there. Got various other decorations, and I've got some really good LED lights. These Aqua L LED lights. They're waterproof, so it's good in a concealed situation like this, and they're very high quality, beautiful fixtures. It's going to look a ripper. This is an old Laurie Small under gravel filter. So it's basically, at the back over here, the airline is going to connect. The airline means that the bubble is going to come up through this tube and come out top here. And therefore, through this tube, which has got little slats underneath it. So if you look under it, there's a slat. Then the slats are going to suck water through the gravel. And the gravel is going to grow lots of good bacteria. And the gravel is going to become part of the filter media. So therefore this floor is going to grow heaps of good bacteria. So it's really important that it is cleaned. So what we're going to want to do is get a gravel cleaner, which is a thick tube connected to a thin tube, push that into the gravel, pulls all the crap out of the gravel that's sucked to the bottom, and then all the waste is broken down by the good bacteria. It's a very cheap, very reliable, and really quite a good means of filtration. It isn't as popular as it used to be for two reasons. One, it can be just a little bit noisy, which people are a little bit sensitive about now. And second is because, so once again, it's sucking all the crap to the bottom as opposed to isolating it in a separate canister. So this is very good, very cheap, very reliable, but it does mean that the under gravel filtering becomes very important, because we don't want it getting just clogged up with just heaps of crap, which it will over time. So these days people tend to go for canisters. The other thing too is that in the canisters we're able to put in marine pure media, and the marine pure media is able to offer parallel denitrification to get rid of the nitrates, whereas your under gravel is going to be predominantly nitrifying, which means it will more likely produce nitrates. Canisters are a blast from the past. So these were the cheaper alternative to Eheim back in the old days. And they can be set up in two ways. They can be set up purely or majority mechanical, and then you put this tube inside the filter, and then you've got to put wool around the tube, which was a complete pain in the ass. And then inside this tube you could put some biological media. So this is mainly just mechanical. So after a few weeks this will get dirty, and then you've got to take this off. Then you've got to rewrap that filter wool, and you've only got a little bit of biological in the middle, or you could put carbon in there if you want. Now I didn't find this was actually very effective at all, and I found it to be very frustrating. So let's put that aside. The way that I used to like setting these ones up is I would put in a little barrier, so that meant the water could get directed to the bottom. Then I would put this in feet down, like this. So the water would come down the side, come up through the biological media, which in this case I'm going to use marine pure. Then we're going to put a bit of filter wool on the top. Then we're just going to put the lid on it. Now, every now and then it's good to put some activated carbon or some poly filter in the filter. And then you've got the ability to do this as well. You need to make sure the O-ring is in position. And away we go. Old school. I haven't seen these in 20 years. Ever used gravel without at least test washing it? Because some gravel is so dirty that you don't want to start with really dirty gravel. In general, this aqua algae gravel is very clean, but don't count on it. Always give it a wash before you put it in, because there's nothing worse than starting with a fish tank. It's got dirty gravel in it. It's like starting going backwards before you begin. So just whack it in there, turn it around in your hand. When the gravel's nice and clean, you can whack the gravel in the tank, but I definitely want to be giving it a wash, because otherwise if you set your tank up now, yeah, you're a bit behind the 8 ball. Now once the gravel is in the tank, don't do this ever again, because I want to be cleaning the gravel using a gravel vacuum. And the gravel vacuum will allow us to clean the gravel while we're doing a water change. And that maintains our good bacteria. Because what we don't want is the chlorine in the tap water to kill off our good bacteria. Because all the bacteria on the gravel is what we want to keep the fish alive. I've worked with one of these under gravel filters for about 20 years. So this was sold to this home about 30 years ago. And one of the things that I remember hating about these the most is when they pop up, particularly with fish like cichlids that dig in the gravel. Now I've been busy washing 6 bags, and 6 bags would have been enough, I would have thought, just to give it a bit of a cover, but it just keeps popping up. So I'm going to need significantly more gravel if I'm going to hide it. And because the fish are going to keep digging, what my fear is that this white pipe is going to keep getting exposed, and I think that's going to piss me off. So what I'm going to look at doing now is try testing this old canister filter. If I can get this canister filter functioning, I might actually float the idea of not putting the under gravel filter in. So therefore I won't need to wash more gravel, because I'm thinking I'd need to double the amount of gravel. So that's significant cost, and that's still not going to get us away from the fact that the fish are going to dig. So if I can get this filter working, I think I might just pull the good old under gravel filter out. Now I'm going to suggest the under gravel filter we may not use, for may end up being a pain in the neck, like it used to be, now I remember. So the judgment day is going to be, will a brand new 30-year-old filter work? So I've got it primed and I've got it ready full of water. Now I plug it in and I hope. So let's watch what happens. So it's pumping. And nothing's happening yet. Oh, that's fun. Definitely not working. She ain't gonna go. Oh well, seems like you can't just keep a filter for 30 years and expect it to work. The impeller is definitely stuffed, and it's not, absolutely not replaceable. It is possible to give that a little bit of a glue and get some temporary life out of it, but it's really not worth the hassle. Especially when these units, being old and brittle, and one fitting has already broken just by very gentle handling of it. So I think this filter needs to be decommissioned. So I've got 2 options at one stage, and now is either go ahead with the under gravel and double the amount of gravel, but for that same money I could put a brand new canister on and we're back in business.